Some objects are tools, others are trophies, but every so often you find something that wants to be both. The original TrimUI Brick was like that, a small, stubborn silhouette that makes you want to reach into your pocket and play. This is the TrimUI Hammer. It takes the DNA of a Game Boy, the very soul of a vertical handheld, and forges it from a single block of metal. In doing so, it asks a question I can't stop thinking about. What happens when you upgrade a memory? Does refining it change what it means? Let's hop in and find out. This unit here was provided by LitNXT for review. As always, the company isn't seeing this video beforehand, they have no input into what I'm saying, and of course I'm going to give you my honest thoughts to what I think about it. In this video, I want to do two different things. I want to review the hardware, but I also want to explore the feeling this device is trying to sell you. If you're here for a quick answer, I love the TrimUI products, especially the Brick, and the Hammer is my favorite version yet. But it asks you to treat it differently than a plastic handheld that you've owned. And that's exactly what I want to talk about. Nostalgia isn't just one memory, it's a collage, a specific plastic smell from a new toy, the glow of a screen in a dark room, the distinct click of a D-pad. For so many of us, the vertical handheld, the Game Boy, is a fundamental shape of our childhood. That simple column, the two face buttons, it's baked into our muscle memory. Vertical handhelds are honest. They don't hide what they are. You cup them in your hand, you look down, and you play. The original TrimUI Brick captured that memory, but with a modern twist. The Hammer takes it a step further. It keeps that silhouette, but its choice of a material fundamentally changes your relationship with the handheld. So what happens when you take a design meant for a pocket and machine it out of metal? The first thing you'll notice is the weight. The Hammer doesn't feel like a toy, it feels like an heirloom. In gunmetal, the finish is cool and dense in your hand. The CNC milling is incredibly precise. It feels like something you'll keep, not something that you'll replace in a year. It also comes in military green, rose gold, and then of course this metallic gunmetal gray. So you can choose the finish that speaks to you. I've always believed in spending just a little bit more to get something that lasts. The plastic Brick felt durable. The Hammer feels permanent, but here's the trade-off. The material reframes its purpose. The plastic Brick was kind of telling you, just toss me in your bag. But the TrimUI Hammer kind of feels like it wants you to be careful with it. It's not really a flaw, it's just a repositioning. This device wants to be cared for with intention, like a lot of other high-quality devices. One thing that I was kind of worried about was these edges. You might feel it a little bit more than the plastic one, but personally, it hasn't really bothered me. So let me be clear about what this device is and what it isn't. This is not a powerhouse for 3D gaming. If you're buying this for consistent N64 and Dreamcast, you're probably looking at the wrong handheld. Instead, the Hammer is a specialist. It's an instrument built to absolutely nail the 8 and 16-bit eras, and on that front, it's absolutely magnificent. For Game Boy and Game Boy Color, the experience is flawless. The 4x3 screen gives you a huge, sharp image with minimal borders. With integer scaling enabled, the pixel structure is so crisp it feels like you're looking at a backlit photograph. Combine that with the clicky, responsive D-pad, and playing something like these classic systems feels less like emulation and more like restoration. This is the form factor these games were born for. For Game Boy Advance, the story is a little bit different, but no less impressive. The Game Boy Advance's native 3:2 aspect ratio means you'll have to choose between a perfectly scaled image with a little bit of black bars, or a slightly stretched full-screen view. But here's where the high-resolution panel becomes the hero. The pixel density is so high that even when stretched, The image remains remarkably clean and vibrant. It avoids the soft, muddy look you get on lesser screens. It's truly a beautiful way to play Game Boy Advance. And of course, for SNES and Genesis, the performance is rock solid. This is a perfect machine to rediscover the JRPGs and platformers of that era. As for PlayStation 1, it'll run surprisingly decent, and it's a fantastic bonus, but I see it as the absolute ceiling for this device's comfort zone. The main event, the reason you chose the hammer, is for everything that comes before. Controls are where a handheld lives or dies. A great screen can lure you in, but a mushy D-pad can suck all the joy out. The original Brick got this right, and the hammer continues on that tradition. The buttons are clicky without being too loud. They have satisfying travel and a firm response. The D-pad has the right amount of pivot and rebound for precise inputs in tight platformers. There's a subtle thing that happens when the physics of input perfectly matches what your fingers expect. You forget the controller exists. You stop thinking about angles and pressure, you just inhabit the game. The hammer does that. It's a tactile, forgiving interface that makes your favorite games feel rewarding all over again. The clicks you hear from the buttons in the D-pad are the sound of quality, not distraction. Hardware can set the stage, but the software directs the play, and in the software story for the TrimUI devices is one of community-driven evolution. Out of the box, the stock OS is fine. It loads games, and it feels a bit generic. It also lacks the polish that the hardware deserves. It's definitely usable, and I used it for a good 6 months before trying some community alternatives. For a while, the answer was MIUI. It's a statement in minimalism, stripping everything down to a simple, fast, text-based list. It's stable, clean, and distraction-free. But for those of us who love seeing our game libraries presented with a bit more personality, there's a new chapter, NextUI. NextUI is the successor to MIUI. Built on the same core principles of speed and simplicity, but now with quality of life features you'd actually want. It seems like the software that a device this well made has been waiting for. I gotta say, one of the most interesting consequences of machining a device out of aluminum is how it handles the heat. Aluminum is a great conductor. It spreads warmth efficiently. On the plastic brick, that heat would concentrate into a single uncomfortable spot. On the hammer, that warmth diffuses across the entire chassis. Technically, that's a huge improvement. The components run cooler and the device's longevity is likely improved. But practically, it means the entire device grows warm in your hands for longer gaming sessions. It definitely gets warm, but I wouldn't say it's uncomfortable. And I've tried quite a few different metal devices before. This is the best one yet. Cooler internals for a warmer exterior. Neither's wrong, they just feel different. If you want to pick this up, you can get this on LitNXT's website for $99 with a coupon. They also have a few different bundles that you can get, and you can use my coupon code if you're interested in bringing that down to $99. So at $99, is the hammer worth it? Who is this actually for? To answer that, I have to place it among its peers. Compared to the original plastic TrimUI Brick, the hammer is a linear upgrade in feel and permanence. It's the same soul in a more premium, more intentional body. If you love the original, the hammer is definitely the definitive version of that take. Then you have something like the Ioneo Pocket Micro Classic. This is a fascinating comparison. The Ioneo is also a premium metal niche device, but its focus is laser sharp. It's arguably the ultimate Game Boy Advance machine. A luxury device built to do one thing perfectly, but it's also more expensive, blockier, horizontal, and makes a few compromises, like having no headphone jack. The hammer is more of a versatile, more pocketable, vertical retro machine. It does Game Boy Advance beautifully, but it feels more at home with the entire library of games kinda leading up to that. The TrimUI hammer is not a revolution in emulation, it's kind of a refinement in the feeling. It makes you ask yourself, do you want a handheld that's merely useful or one that feels like it's worth keeping? For me, the answer is the latter. The hammer sits in my collection as a small, confident object, beautiful, tactile, and made to last. If that matters to you, then the TrimUI hammer is an easy recommendation. If this video helped you make your decision, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. If you want to pick one up, you can find the link in the description below along with a coupon code. Thanks so much for watching, I'll catch you in the next one.